We're all the way here. Being called forward. So when you want to know what it's all about, when you want to know about this whole process, that's what we mean when we say, and we're called forward here.
Mm-hmm.
We call it forward.
Mm-hmm.
And you've opened enough to follow the trail that's led you here. And there are many stops along the way. There are many things to view and experience and to learn about and to discuss and to ponder over and to sit and enjoy. And then you invariably, inevitably want to move forward on this path. But we just want you to orient yourself enough with the inner energy that's going to guide you along this path. Not saying that every stop along the way, every step along the way, not saying that everything that you move to or view or experience or read about or witness is the answer, but there's always truth within it. There's always what you need from it. So it can be a spiritual teacher, it can be a job, it can be a pit stop that you make along the way that has the answer that you're looking for.
But I wonder why, in particular, we might be called to this state of higher consciousness, this state of expanded awareness of who we are,
Well,
this state of knowing our own, divinity, divine human self.
everyone is called to it. Some are just able to hear. And that's something that you invariably work out through your life experience. Now, others can stimulate you to that desire, to that intention to move forward in this way. But everyone is being called. Everyone.
Everyone, even people who may not have a sense of, like, people who say, well, I'm an atheist,
They
or
still have inner energy that's calling them forward.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Now, whether they unite and harmonize and resonate with that energy today or tomorrow or longer than that, that's the outworking and that's the experience of the individual, each individual. But in the same way that are many paths leading to the same place, there is that commonality of the inner energy. Now, you could know it for someone, you can know it about someone, you can see it clearly on their behalf, and they may not see their best side. They may not be able to in this moment. And your inner energy, your inner source sees you in that same way.
Right.
Now, there are stages that you can move through to get you to the place where you're able to see it as well. And that's really what life is all about.
And what you're referring to is seeing my own, I'm just going to say majesty, seeing my own magnificence, seeing my own divinity, seeing my own, you know, eternal, loving, beautiful being
The
self.
divinity within, it's always present. But you have the agency, you have the faculty, you have the authority to either accept or reject it, or stumble around long enough that you are stimulated to make that decision. This has not always been top of mind. And the same is true for all.
Okay. And then I wonder what happens when people get sort of lost in, like, have these spiritual crises in a way, or I don't know what else to call them. But so I have a neighbor whose son is very fundamentalist Christian, and big heart kid. He actually has been coming over to work with David on the piano because he's a beautiful piano player, but he can't speak with anybody without talking about, God and Jesus and the Bible and word for word, literal kind of stuff. His parents are afraid that he's not able to deal with reality. I see a beautiful person in him because he comes by to, just visit. And yeah, the Jesus freak stuff is kind of, after a while, a lot. But how do you like, clearly there's some desire within him to know that God self,
Yes.
but it's coming out in this weird way. And I know that's a judgment. I'm making a judgment. For him, it's not weird.
Well, in this case, there is the desire to know God, but not God within the self. And if there is that disparity, then it's not fully experienced and it becomes all about the words and becomes all about the lip service and so on and so forth. And you, but that is not your concern ultimately. Your concern is to see a way through the cracks. And it's there, even if you have to use a different terminology. In other words, we're doing that to you with you right now. We're taking on forms of speech, we're taking on language patterns, we're taking on inferences and intentions, and we're using the information available to us to craft a message. But these are not our words, you see.
These are not
So
our words.
we're not speaking your language. We're using your language to speak to you, but we're communicating this all through energy. We pick and choose the terms, the terminology, the vocabulary that we have available to us, as well as the life experiences of this individual. And we use all of that to paint a picture of the message that we want to portray, of course, actively interfacing through the spoken word and receiving the stimulation that's coming from your understanding.
Right.
And we're using that to build bridges of understanding. And the same is true. In other words, that's what compassion really is. So even if you're using words that may not be your preferred vernacular, you can still build bridges with this one and with anyone by understanding them. And we think you have enough of an understanding to use as a bridge of communication.
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I really just feel love from this kid, just really that's what I feel. And but his mother and his father, who are our friends, neighbors, are very concerned that he's not going to be able to function in the world. And I know it's from their perspective, like from their perspective, they see it. And, like that she said, oh, well, he can't keep a job because he keeps talking to everybody about Jesus. And, people like have had enough of, Jesus. So, I understand but she's thinking as a mother, like, how can he balance within himself? He's like out of balance, with all of it. And I see this beautiful, lovely being, really. So I just wonder, like, how do we find that sort of path of clarity, around this awareness of our higher self that helps us, that supports us on this journey in a way that's, um I don't know, that's not painful or not, um that's not probably the right way to say it, but uh I know it's individual and each soul chooses because they want to experience this, so I'm sure his soul wants to experience all of this. But at the same time, isn't isn't it more simple to come to this understanding of who we are and this higher consciousness with a sense of just clear, um being who we are? Oh, I don't
You
know.
all have your paths that you're following. And
Yeah.
this is the path that this individual is on. And so this is how he speaks and thinks. This is what he's all about. And so any revelation will come through that lens. And there are many who share that lens. Now, that lens can become enlarged. In other words, it's not to leave out that which he cherishes and to replace it with something else, but it's to expand upon those ideas. And when those ideas are expanded upon, then this one can interact in different ways. But we also want to say that it's not a bad thing that he can't fit in. It's not a bad thing at all, because if and as he follows that path, fully believing in the aspects of that teaching which resonate, then he will draw to himself those who share that understanding.
Mhm.
In other
Mhm.
words, we're not asking a painter to become a musician, and we're not asking a musician to become an athlete, and we're not asking an athlete to become a sculptor. Everyone has their own medium that's important to them that they're creating through the lens of. And this is true of this religious affiliation, and it's true of any other religious affiliations or any non religious affiliations or anything like that. You're all coming, you're on your own path, but it's all leading to that same interconnection.
Now, I have a question about that. Now, is it also true that his parents is also creating that with him? Like, when they're saying that he's not going to cope in the world, he's not going to. They're also putting that out there.
They are. In
They're
the
they're
same way,
also creating that.
yes, very much for themselves in their own personal experience. And this one has the option to listen to that and to accept it or not. And in the way that we said, that the inner energy is always looking at you, seeing the best of you. Sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. The same is true of everyone around you. Sometimes they see the potential, sometimes they see what you can be, and sometimes they don't. And in this case, the view is not productive in that sense. Now, what do the parents really want? They want the child to live well and to succeed with what he is interested in, and to thrive and to have understanding and to be understood. But putting a square peg into a round hole and then expecting things to change doesn't really ever work out. And then you end up more frustrated, and everyone ends up more frustrated than ever before. So you just accept that everyone has that inner guidance, has that inner energy, and you encourage them to find its unique expression. And that's what he will teach them. And that's what you will teach others. And that's what others will teach you. That's co-creation here.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mm.
In a way, well, I want to. At first, I was going to say, and we don't need to be conscious of that sort of. I'm on this path of wanting to be more connected with my inner being. Of we can be just living our path, living our lives, and finding ways to connect with one another and teach one another and forgive one another and heal and be all the human things that we are, and allow that individual's soul to just kind of carry and guide them. you know it, so what I'm getting at is, here some of us are conscious of this fact that we want this interconnection, we want this higher this expanded awareness, we want this, like me, I want this. Others may not consciously be saying that, but at the same time, they're going to get there whether they're conscious of it or intention or not, right?
Yes, everyone gets there in their own way.
Mhm.
Your intention is what guides you more clearly through this process. But if you have that vague awareness or that unclear, unrefined desire, you'll feel around. In other words, that's what spiritual crisis is about. A dark night of the soul is you realizing that the ways that you have been approaching it are not leading you to the outcomes that you want. And that is where the reassessment comes in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's very true. Okay. So what? Okay. So I don't want to keep like harping on this, but this idea of intentionally, consciously saying, there's an expanded sense of peace and love that I have experienced and that I want to experience more of, that intentional kind of path, this higher self exists kind of divine human experience, that not everybody's doing that in a conscious way, right?
Indeed.
So for me, who is doing that, I believe in a conscious way, and I want to teach and uplift others. How do I work with people who, come with those that are not uh, doing that? Is it better to work with people who are also consciously, intentionally moving in that direction? Um,
I
because
wouldn't say
sometimes,
it's better, but it's easier for everyone involved. If there are those who are not interested, you will radiate that which you are, and they will have the option to either recognize it and to accept it, or to deny it and to move on. You're not going to get a lot done with that type of person.
yeah,
And you'll tend to both end up more frustrated than before. But if there is one who has that intention, then the intention is what you harmonize upon. Now, they may have the intention, but not have mastered the ability to bring that into fulfillment. And that is where you can be of incredible assistance.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Tension, not mastered the ability to bring it into
But
fulfillment.
all of that happens automatically. Because when you start talking about those who don't have the intention and those who do, and those who may not, and what happens to all of this, your focus is moving in all of these different directions. And so you're getting back a little bit of this, you're getting back a little bit of that, you're getting back a little bit of the other thing. But as you continue to refine your intention by setting all of that aside, not pushing it away, just letting it go and focusing on your own intention, then those who share that intention are all harmonized to you. You're all in that same frame of mind. You're all of the same energy. You're all being drawn together to do that work. So we really want to emphasize that you stay clear, stay focused on your intention, and you let the chips fall where they may. Because as you appreciate the sort of universal mechanism that's going on, that everyone is, it's called law of attraction, like attracting like, then you can leave everyone to find their next step, and you can remain purely focused on yours and draw to you quickly those who are in harmony with it. And that's all you have to do, is maintain that focus, maintain that intention, maintain that vision, maintain the feeling, maintain the energy. And everything that's a match is drawn to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's harmony. In other words, someone who has an apple but doesn't, or someone who has a bushel of apples and wants to share, will attract someone who wants an apple and doesn't have any.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I I always find that I always tell myself, Anson, you're in the right place at the right time,
And
for
so it
whatever
is.
reason.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm meant to be with, I always say, non-aware people, and maybe my light is gonna shine and help them in some way. I'm saying, so I always tell myself, you know what? I'm frustrated with the situation, but I have to remind myself I'm in the right place at the right time, because I think you're always at the right place at the right time,
And
Mm-hmm.
so it is.
even
And as you
even if
believe
it's
that, it
difficult.
becomes your experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I think last week, I can't remember if I mentioned this, but I had this experience of an incredibly peaceful connection with my inner being. I've had it more frequently in meditation lately, where I'm just me, like this beautiful, amazing energy. I'm just it. I am it. I am. And it's like a primordial kind of me. Describe it. Um, and then and then what happens is, like, I could feel this amazing peace, this amazing relaxation, peace, and expansive, very, very expansive, like beyond my body. And then I recognize that everything after that, everything past that point of is a perspective. It's sort of like that energy is a being, and then everything that I'm sort of experiencing is a perspective of
Mm.
of whether it's, my desire or my intention or my creation. But it feels like, is that right? That like
Yes.
okay. Okay.
We call it the eternal self. And that's why we say, don't try to think your way there or affirm your way into that state of being. You felt the process that we've been talking about so very much, which is that you connect with the inner energy. You called it primordial, we call it eternal. And that self then thinks. And as that self thinks, that self creates the eternal self. And so that is your experience of that. You can revisit it as often as you'd like. In fact, we encourage making it a daily practice. And those thoughts that occur to you from that state of being are creative, they're magnetic. They'll bring more and more until it crystallizes and takes form within your physical experience. So that's the process.
Okay. Well, it was very cool. It's been a very cool experience. In fact, Joseph, I did feel the energy, like it was sort of like I'm in this energy, and then it's like this is the Joseph energy. I
Yes.
mean, it was my energy, but this is the Joseph energy.
That's why we call it a collective consciousness. You're right there with us.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it felt like.
Hmm.
That Joseph energy. And so in that creative process, as you said, the thoughts that come to me in that creative process, the difference is that they almost like just appeared. I'm gonna say it.
Yes.
Like, it's hard to describe, but they just sort of like popped up, or they
Yes.
just, is that, yeah. Okay.
That's your eternal self. Because think of like attracting like in that sense, being in that state of being, you're only going to draw to you that which is like it. So that's where the thoughts come from.
Oh, right.
And they're so creative and they're so powerful.
Yeah. 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 Very creative, very powerful, and easy, like easily, like, this way, I was almost like I felt almost like I was floating in them. It's kind of a weird description, but like even in the idea or the thought, I was just floating in it. It wasn't like, sometimes when we think about things, like I have to get this Excel spreadsheet done, and I have to get this phone call made, and I have to get this calendar set up. It feels like work, but the thoughts that,
Mm.
that were coming from that beautiful state of being, like as that sort of natural kind of expression, maybe, were they felt floaty. They felt much lighter, much like powerful, clear, but lighter in that sense. Yeah.
No resistance,
Oh, right. No
purity of energy, purity of focus.
resistance. Right. That's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right. There was no resistance. Yeah.
So what do? You enjoy it more and you enjoy it more and you enjoy it more. And in your enjoyment of it, you're drawing more of it to you. And in your appreciation and recognition of your enjoyment, it gets even stronger. And when you recognize that your appreciation of the enjoyment makes the experience even stronger, it gets even stronger, and it builds and builds, and the thoughts get stronger and lead you forward. So remember that, make it a priority.
Yeah.
That's where your creative self comes from. And that's where the inspiration is going to show up for you. That's where the new ideas are going to show up for you. That's where the next steps are going to show up for you. And action will come as an extension of that process. So, in the same way you felt the thought flow, the action will flow as well. The opportunity and the reception of the opportunity will flow as well.
Sure. Yeah.
And look for it and recognize it, because when you take that time to feel it and to experience it, you're setting those experiences into motion for yourself. And so when experiences in your physical environment, such as this one, are drawn to you that feel like that, let that be your recognition that you created that experience, that you manifested it, that you drew it to yourself. The
Mhm.
essence will be the same. And so when you spend more time focusing in the
Mhm.
world of essence, in that experience, you set more of those into motion, which then again are drawn to you, and you recognize it by that similarity of energy, that same flavor, that same feeling. That's how you know.
Mm.
And then when you have that recognition and it comes into your experience, and you enjoy it and you appreciate it and you really let yourself relax and experience it fully, it gets even stronger, and you're continuing the process.
Mm. Mm. So one of the things that I have noticed is it um, feels like I know what the truth is in a circumstance or situation or experience. That sounds egotistical, but what I mean is I know what's real, um, or what's being like put on, um, what kind of condition is. No, what I can do is I can differentiate between, because I know what that energy feels like, and when the circumstances or experiences that I'm having feel like that energy, I know that if people are saying things that maybe I am resisting a little bit, I can find my sense of balance in that, because I know what kind of the truth is inside of me. I know what the truth is.
You've experienced it.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between intellectually thinking it and viscerally, energetically experiencing it. When you have that experience, everything else seems less important, less real, if you would,
Right.
because you're tuning into experiencing the energy and the understanding of the eternal. And that's
Right.
big.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Because mm, I don't want to, what do you call it? When you not deny, but when you, I guess it's denial, kind of deny the experiences that I'm having in a way that, I devalue them instead, because I say, well, for instance, so David went through all this neurological psychology, neuropsychology testing. We don't have any of the results yet, but I know that, some of the things that they're looking for are, how how his dementia is progressing and all of that. And my feeling is that, yes, we can quantify all of this in the world. We can say these are the conditions, these are the like symptoms, these are the, kind of manifestations that people have with, a certain disease or whatever. But it doesn't mean that the experience that I have has to be controlled by those descriptions, by those um, limitations. And at the same time, I don't want to be, unreasonable, with the physical, reality of what we're dealing with. So walking in the world in that way is a little bit of a, kind of, I need to go back to my inner self and say what's true for me in this situation and really, feel for that.
Well, we encourage you to get out there into life and to experience it fully, and to even let yourself get out on the sort of ragged edge of things where it can get a little rough.
Yeah.
Go for it, really.
Yeah.
But know that you have that center to return to and to process all of that information. Because if you go too far out there, you get lost in the details. But if you get far enough to really crave an answer, to really desire a solution, to really know what to do next, well, when you have that remembrance, in other words, that's why people go off into the hills and whatnot, is to make that connection. But you'll notice they don't stay out there, they come back. And that's what you're talking about here, is being able to maintain that connection, stepping into the world.
Right. Right. Like, there may be some great, new discoveries or whatever in science that could be awesome. So yes, I want to participate, but I don't, as you said, I don't want to get caught up in the sort of the, you know, doom and gloom of some of these things. Um, and I know I won't. I know I won't. But it would be interesting to have, just like for instance, so what happened, this woman who I've been interviewing to help clean our house, she tells me the other day, "Oh, I'm also a certified nursing assistant. I take care of, people in their homes and stuff." I'm like, "You do?" So, it's almost like I explore these things and I want to find out about them. And then somebody shows up with an answer
Yes,
or something I need.
you're staying clear and true to your intention, and all of the pieces that are important to its manifestation are drawn to you.
Yeah. So that's the process that I want to stay in. So as you say, staying clear and true to your intention, that's coming from this really loving place within me, this sort of this essence place.
Well,
This
that's the best of all of this. That's the message that we want to convey the most, is to find that place to let the information reveal itself to you, the thoughts, the new ideas, and the inspiration, and then to energize all of that through your intention.
yeah.
It has a lot of carrying power. It has a lot of effectiveness. It's a lot more influential than an intention you make from a place of desperation, for instance.
Yeah. 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 Well, the most wonderful thing, thank you. And the most wonderful thing is I have this renewed sort of sense of like appreciation for myself and for, yeah, just an appreciation for myself
Indeed.
and a gratitude for the teaching. Yeah. Yeah. So, whew, that was that. It was good though. Thank you very much.
So I have a question on that. So how which I know meditation and all this other stuff, but I always struggle of staying in that moment. Like it's like we forget that we have this powerfulness of us, or this way of making things happen. When something goes wrong, we get all rattled and we forget that, oh, I could have done this, you know what I'm saying? Or make this happen because I'm creative. So how do we stay in this moment?
The same process as you use to create anything. You place the intention
Mhm.
and you feel it out and you practice.
Hmm.
Hmm. Okay.
So
So this
what you said is one perspective, and think of the other side of that. I want my inner knowing to radiate clearly from me. I want to embody that. I want to live clearly from that place. I want it to flow easily. I want it to feel natural. I want it to blend with who I am. I want to easily share it with others. I want the ideas to flow without any resistance. I want the solutions to come. I want to be in that flow. I want to be in the zone. I want to have that clarity come easily. And I know it's
Hmm.
there and I intend to receive it. And then you let it go.
Okay.
And maybe you reaffirm that every day. But what you don't do
Okay.
is you don't beat up on yourself for forgetting it. Because if you're mad at yourself for forgetting it, you're not in that moment remembering it. And when you do remember it, you're not mad at yourself anymore. And when you're not mad at yourself anymore, you remember it. So just paying attention to the way that you feel throughout this process.
Mm.
And that relaxation you're feeling now come through you. That's how you remember.
Mhm.
So it's basically practicing and practicing. It's like tying your shoes or learning to walk. You know what I'm saying?
It is
It's just constant
thought
practicing
by
and practicing.
thought.
I do feel as though there was a combustion level of sorts, recently for me. And I'm sure there's many, many, many that happen, throughout our experiences. But I do feel like I was like so open to this incredible feeling of the essential me, the eternal me, of really feeling that and really opening and accepting it, that there was no way it wasn't going to happen. It was like it had to happen. It was just sort of like, I know what this is now. It's like that came to me like, I know what this is. I know what this is. I really, really know what this is. And
Mm.
I have, and really for the past year, like since COVID, I have been meditating every single day, like every single day. And not because I'm trying to
Good.
win a race or anything, but just because it kind of kept me centered, focused, helped me to make these shifts. And there have been lots of shifts. I'm sure there's more to come along the
There
way.
are.
Thanks, Joseph.
Hmm.
It's an eternal process. So
Yeah.
you're not going to be there all the time. You're going to practice it. It's an eternal process. So
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's been forever that we've been sort of in this eternal process, right?
That's
Forever.
eternal, yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And I know
Yeah.
I'm using time, and there is really no time, um, but in a sense, it's sort of, this is just another way of looking at this. It's just another way of being the other perspective. That's what it feels like to me.
You create something of lasting experience as you allow this process to continue and you allow the merging,
Yeah.
something new.
Yeah. Yeah. Something new. So
I have a quick question.
yeah, go ahead, Anson. Go ahead, go.
I'm sorry. Sure, go ahead. No, it's real quick. I just wanted to know. For me, I don't know if Maryland experiences. Well, I guess everybody's different. Like when my eyes burn or I'm yawning. I don't know if other people have experienced that. So I'm asking is that I feel like it's like an awareness of something I'm getting.
It
Every time
is.
I get something like it's like it just drives me crazy. Like my eyes burns and I'm yawning, and so people think I'm bored or something. Like, Anson, you bored? No, but it's my way of It's like I'm releasing something, but I'm also getting something. Does that
You
make
are.
sense?
It's the relaxation, it's the letting go.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. It just like my right now my eyes is burning, 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 and it just. But it's like I know what it is, but it's also irritating sometimes. It drives me crazy. Yeah.
You can change it if you desire, but you have that clear
Yeah.
indication.
Yes.
So that's one perspective, and let's take it on the other side. I intend to receive clear guidance. I intend for it to receive it in a way that's enjoyable and clear and
Yes.
defined and feels good. And I intend for it to flow easily. And I intend for
Yes.
myself to be able to easily recognize it. And so that's where you make that shift.
Yeah. Because I always wonder why does my eyes burn like when I'm getting this realization from my dad, it just burns.
Indeed. Aaron gets the water in the eyes or the ripples of the
Yes.
goosebumps or movement. It'll come and go. And if you want more clarity, intend it.
Mm.
Mm, yeah. Huh. And I just had a thought of something just be in that moment, like like be there in that moment,
Yes.
and don't try to like confront it in a kind of a way. Accept it, it's part of you.
And it'll move through you. Yes.
Yeah.
I, last week, Anson, when, you were talking a little bit about how you know, made decisions about staying focused in the moment and in the positive, aspects of things. Um, and I remembered that because I was also talking about this um, growth on my hand that I was going to have removed. And
Yes.
so I kept thinking about what you had said, and I went to the surgeon, and I was like, and also what Joseph had said in conversation. And so, and I felt really good about it. I said, this is going to be easy. It's going to go quickly. I'm not worried about it. Got in there, sat down, and the doctor was like, well, this is what we're going to do. And he said, and it's going to be one and done, meaning that they could have like gone back, and if they found cancer, they would have done a larger hole in my hand. And if they found it again, they would have done a larger hole in my hand. And he said, nope, we're going to do one and done for you. I was like, great, I got the right doctor. It was like so
Yes.
awesome. And he did. And he comes back. He, like 20 minutes later, he says, now you go sit down and wait for 20 minutes till we biopsy. And he comes back and he says, he has a cup of coffee in his hand. He said, you're good. No problem. You
You
can
are.
go. Yeah. It was like, yes, this is like, it was just beautiful evidence of what we had talked about. And so, I really like, it's so wonderful that all these things are happening like this, as, as Joseph says, I more and more intend and get into that energy and allow that to be the guide. So thank you for
And
that.
I just wanted to say, and as you were saying that, you did all of that. You did that. You said last week, the week before that, it's gonna be fine. You're gonna be, and that's exactly what you did. Well, what you did it. You know what I'm saying? I just pushed you along a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
A little bit.
But you did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that, because it was really, I
You're
mean, I
welcome.
remembered it and it was really beautiful. And, you know, it made me think that's not the only thing in life, in me, in my experience,
Yeah.
that that I can, create that way. So many things, you know?
Like I told you, like I shared with y'all, I'm paralyzed from that car accident,
Yeah.
and I tell my friends now that I am I am more alive now than I was before walking,
You are.
Whoa.
and some of them can't understand that.
Whoa.
But
Yeah.
it's more spiritual than before, because before that I wasn't nowhere spiritual. But it's like my accident happened to make me look and stop thinking, just stop and then I became, wow, I could see colors, I could just see everything more brighter and more, and it's like I'm more alive now than before.
Yeah. And when that happens, Joseph, I think what you were just saying is that our sort of our energy, or maybe it's the frequency, just kind of rises a little bit a to be created at a higher level or a different level where we have more access to the greater intelligence of who we are,
You
and
do.
we feel better because of that, we feel happier.
The full experience. In other words, and there's always more to experience. There's more going on to enjoy. And when you let yourself relax, as this one is doing here, and
Yes.
feel it fully, it continues to build and build and build and build and build. So, and we want to close this with one thing. You did not become more spiritual. You recognized the spirit that was abiding with you, that was always there. Now you slowed down enough to see it.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
You know, I want to add one last thing. I know we have time, but you know, my best friend died in a car accident, and the first time I dreamt my best friend, it was like although I was in the hospital, but I felt like I woke up, if that makes sense. Like his dream kind of like woke me up for some reason,
Indeed.
because he's very spiritual, so we talk all the time and all kind of things. But it was like he like he had to have left to kind of help me along, if that makes sense. Like that kind of a
Oh my
way, kind of a
gosh,
thing.
that's so
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah,
When you feel the presence, and we want you to know when you open, when you feel the presence of that inner energy, when we're talking about like attracting like, you're both right there. And that
mm,
understanding is seamless with those who are physical, with those who are non-physical.
mm.
Mm. Wow. I love that.
And he sees you like we see you. And we want you to see yourself in that same
Yes,
way.
yes. He tells me all the time that he sees me watch over me. You know, it's like just that's why I'm here, because I appreciate stuff like this. I think it grows you as a person.
It
I'm
does.
saying
And that's what
not
we,
not as the body person, bigger than the body person.
it's the appreciation of the enjoyment makes it stronger. Lets the process continue.
Yeah, I really appreciate you. I really appreciate Joseph. I really appreciate Anson. I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Very good.
We've
Thank
enjoyed this conversation. Everyone's in the same energy, everyone's basking in it. Let it guide you, let it call you forward.
Yes. Thank you.
We are complete.
Yes.
Ooh, Aaron.
Hi. Hey.
Well,
Ooh.
that was some potent stuff coming through.
I'm a little more out of it than
Yeah, it
usual. I'm
was.
like, yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Good stuff.
uh,
Thank you so much, Aaron.
my
Yes,
pleasure.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
My
can't wait to
absolute
get that.
pleasure.
Cannot wait to get that
Yeah.
recording. But yes, thank you. And Anson, thank you so much. Just I feel
You're
like we
welcome.
all like,
Thank you.
yeah, we all like, ooh, okay.
Mhm.
I need to go outside and look at the stars now.
Yeah, that sounds like a
Yeah.
wonderful plan. I think
Oh
I'm gonna
yes.
get out too, get some fresh air. Feels so nice.
Yes, that sounds great. That sounds great. Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Well,
do it too.
thank you for
All right.
going deeper
Thank you.
and
Yeah.
making it awesome.
Yeah. No, thank you. All good. All right. See
Absolutely.
you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Next week.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
yeah, yeah.